Hi everybody. Well, I'm just going to start this video off right with the pour, and this is a Payne's Gray and a white background. The cup is filled with multiple colors. We have your reds, your yellows, your blues, your greens, your golds, your coppers. There's burnt sienna, purples in there. I just wanted to make a really colorful background, so I just grabbed everything on my shelf and filled up a few cups, and this is the first one. I'll just let you know that I'm just going to stretch this canvas out quite a bit and play around. I do have an idea in my mind what I want to paint on it later. As you know, I like to paint on my paintings when they're dry. So for that reason, my pours may look a little different than what you'd expect, because I have a purpose of them and I have an idea of what I want to do. So I work my paint around the canvas to get it into position, sort of, and a good composition for what I want to do with it. So it may not make sense because you don't know what I'm planning, um, but I do have a plan in mind, and I will show what I've done at the end of my videos. I'll show a few process um, photos maybe, or some video and the final piece. I won't be showing so much of my process of actually painting on the paintings when they're dry, because I know a few people have said that they love seeing it and love watching me paint and create the painting that comes afterwards. But it's a lot of work to do all that editing to make sure I'm all set up before I begin painting. And sometimes that kind of just adds an extra element of, there's no spontaneity. I like to just sort of sit down and start painting sometimes. And setting all my stuff up all the time is just for the time lapse or whatever, for a few people that might enjoy seeing it, is just a lot of work. I hope you can understand that, but uh, for now, that's what I'll be doing. So anyway, I'm just going to let you watch this. You can see there's lots of colors in there. I have my paints are very old. They've been sitting on my shelf a long time. I have tons of premix paints, and a lot of them are becoming kind of dry inside the bottles. The sides of the bottles get dried up, and so little bits start falling into the paint. And that's why I am constantly picking out chunks of this and chunks of that. So hopefully I'm going to get all this paint used up one of these days. There's a lot of it, and I can just mix up as I go and have my basic paints that I want to use, like golds and things, always mixed. But yeah, it's just a nightmare picking all this stuff out, and I'm kind of tired of it. Plus, it's the space that it all takes to have all these premix bottles all set up. So I'm just going to let you watch now. It does go all over the place, and it looks a little wild here and there, but do keep in mind um, some of the things I do, I just know it's going to work for what I want to do later. Alrighty? Alright, I'll pop in a little while and talk a little more down the road here. Oh, okay, so at this point, that blue section, I'm trying to push up to the top of the painting because I want that top portion of the painting to be representing a sort of a sky area. So I want all that red and sort of browns and things at the bottom, so I can shape that into land. So um, that is why I'm trying to push that blue to the one end of the painting and sort of keep it higher up. So I'll just let you continue watching. Okay, so I basically have the canvas colors in the areas where I want them. So I'm just going to fiddle around a little bit. Well, I fiddled for quite a while with my palette knife. I am not trying to um, create anything other than a certain area of color in that upper area. I'm not worried about how it looks. I just want to make sure the color that I want up there is up there. And in the back of my mind, I'm contemplating the idea that I have that I want to paint on this later. And I'm trying to figure out if, doing some swiping and getting some little cells might benefit the sky area or not for what I want to do. It doesn't matter that it might look a little messy because I'm painting on it later. Um, I'm just sort of trying to make it um, sort of, I guess, easier for myself for when I get to the end of this and I want to let it dry. Um, make it easier, sort of, to paint on, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. Um, so fiddling around, I could fiddle and fiddle for hours doing this, and it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that I could make it muddy or messy, um, because I paint. You can always, always, always take out what you don't like in your painting after. Just because you pour a painting and you let it sit and you tilt it and then you let it sit, doesn't mean you can't do anything else to it. You can scoop paint up off your mat that you have and put it back on your painting. You can do anything you want. I do that lots of times too, where um, I'll have some really nice drippings. I'll pick them up nice and flat and lay them right back down on the canvas and just sort of repurpose them, just sort of replace them in a new spot. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but um, yeah, all I'm trying to get at is just because you pour a painting doesn't mean, you know, it has to stay the way it was poured. You can play around and do things, and if you don't like it when it's dry, do some more. Sometimes I've let paintings dry and done multiple, you know, small little pours on the paintings after, and they turn out awesome. So, you know, it's not a game over kind of thing if you make a mess. Anyway, and you know, you just have to use your imagination and look at it and kind of get some ideas in your mind of what you think you might be able to do, and not to be afraid to do them, and give it a try. Um, so looking at that, like what I'm doing right now, I know that it looks, to some it might look messy, maybe look like I don't know what I'm doing, but I do. I do. I'm just trying to create some pattern and color up there for now. Anyway, enough explaining on that, and I'll just let you continue watching the little bit of a mess I make and where it ends up in the very end. Alright, so I'm at the point where I have fiddled enough and I'm ready to leave it dry. So here is what it looks like. You can see it looks much different than how it looked when I was pouring. So there you can see all the little things I was doing and all the various colors that are in there. And there I have started painting on it. And I have added some balloons, and still the background is a little odd. And it almost looks like in that middle balloon like there's some sort of a horse or something underneath, which I don't like. So I let all that dry that I was working on, and then I go back and take out that little horse and the rest of the sky area and change it up and just have some fun with it. And this is what I did, and that's the final piece. Hope you enjoyed that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.